Look at the mother asking for her children to be found and returned to her.
I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home to us where they belong.
In this view, the woman evokes only sympathy, but it's not all that clear-cut. Welcome to a chilling episode that delves into the life of Susan Smith, a woman whose heinous crime and its shocking aftermath continue to stir heated debate. Back in 1994, a quiet South Carolinian town was rocked by a horrifying act that is hard to comprehend even today. What could drive a mother to the brink of committing an unthinkable crime against her own flesh and blood? Who is Susan Smith, and what pushed her down this dark path? Join us as we unravel the layers of deception, heartbreak, and raw human emotion that marked this tragic story. You are on the Red Detective Channel. Enjoy watching. Born on September 26, 1971, in Union, South Carolina, Susan Smith grew up in a setting far removed from the idyllic childhood one might imagine. Haunted by a tormented past filled with tales of molestation and abuse, Susan's formative years were anything but normal. Beverly Russell, her stepfather, found himself at the center of these shocking allegations. Susan claimed that Russell had molested her when she was just 15, a charge that Russell himself confessed to. Retired police detective Lieutenant Pete Logan and social worker Carol Ward, who were involved in the case, confirmed these allegations. Logan recounted, "It's pretty well accepted that she was molested by her stepfather," while Ward put it more bluntly, "That is child sexual abuse. It is criminal in nature. The child said it. The perpetrator admitted it. That's a case." But how did these tragic early life experiences feed into the psyche of the woman Susan Smith would become? And what role did they play in the unthinkable act she committed later in her life? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the sequence of events leading to the notorious crime that would forever cast a shadow over Union, South Carolina. Fast forward to 1994, when Susan Smith was caught in a tumultuous whirlwind of personal emotions. The storm intensified when the man she was seeing, a graphic artist named Tom Findley, decided to end their affair. According to Susan's handwritten confession, she was deeply in love with Findley, whom she claimed never reciprocated her feelings. On October 25th, in the throes of heartbreak, Susan did something beyond imagination. She reported that her 2 young boys had been abducted during a carjacking, setting off an intense manhunt. For 9 long days, Susan painted the portrait of a desperate, grieving mother, pleading on national television for the safe return of her babies.
I just can't express it enough that we just got to get them home. That's just where they belong, with their mama and daddy. I want to say it to my babies that your mama loves you so much.
The town, the state, and the nation watched in shocked disbelief as the horrifying truth slowly came to light. The abduction was a fabrication, a lie spun by Susan to hide the fact she had drowned her own children in John D. Long Lake simply by letting her car roll into the water with the kids strapped in their seats. When I was at John D. Long Lake, I had never felt so scared and unsure as I did then. I wanted to end my life so bad and was in my car ready to go down that ramp into the water, and I did go part way, but I stopped. I went again and stopped. I then got out of the car and stood by the car a nervous wreck. In her confession, she tried to explain, "I was not myself. I was a good mother, and I loved my boys. There was no motive, as it was not even a planned event. I was not in my right mind." But would this explanation stand up in court? Would it offer any solace to the hearts she'd shattered? As we delve into the trial, we explore these questions and more. I took off running and screaming, oh God, no. What have I done? Why did you let this happen?" I wanted to turn around so bad and go back, but I knew it was too late. I was an absolute mental case. I couldn't believe what I had done. As the gavel fell on July 18, 1995, Susan Smith's trial became the focus of national attention. The prosecution, led by solicitor Tommy Pope, painted a grim picture of a mother who chose her love affair over her own children's lives. Pope stated in his closing arguments, "On the night of October 25th, Susan Smith made a choice, a horrible, horrible choice." The defense, however, argued from a different perspective. They posited that the tragic incident was actually a botched suicide attempt by Susan, a woman rendered unstable by the man she loved rejecting her. "This is not a case of evil. This is a case about despair and sadness," stated Judy Clark, the defense lawyer. What followed was a battle of perceptions and interpretations, unraveling the dark corners of Susan's mind. As the trial progressed, so did the question: was Susan Smith a cold-blooded murderer or a deeply troubled woman who'd lost her way? "My children deserve to have the best, and now they will. I broke down on Thursday, November 3rd, and told Sheriff Howard Wells the truth. It wasn't easy, but after the truth was out, I felt like the world was lifted off my shoulders." In the face of her crimes, Susan Smith was sentenced and began her life in prison. She was initially held at the Women's Correctional Center in Columbia, South Carolina, but after being implicated in multiple scandals, she was moved to the Leith Correctional Institution in Greenwood. Susan's life in prison has been marked by a series of infractions. She has been involved in a number of incidents, ranging from self-mutilation to the use and possession of narcotics. Her behavior behind bars has been far from exemplary and has resulted in a loss of privileges, including visitation rights, access to the canteen, and telephone usage. Adding further scandal to her story, Susan Smith was found to have engaged in sexual relationships with prison guards. In 2000, a 50-year-old prison guard, Houston Cagle, was found guilty of having an affair with Susan, which resulted in his being incarcerated for 3 months. A year later, prison captain Alfred Rowe was put on probation after confessing to having had sexual relations with her. Even inside prison, Susan seems to have influenced others negatively. 2 of her former cellmates, Christy Smith and Stephanie Halsey, have spoken out about Susan's ability to manipulate others to get what she wants, including procuring drugs. As we examine the controversy that continues to swirl around Susan Smith even behind bars, we also look forward to November 2024, when she becomes eligible for parole. This prospect raises a number of questions. Can someone who committed such a heinous crime ever be deemed fit to rejoin society? As we approach November 2024, the thought of Susan Smith becoming eligible for parole stirs controversy and concern. Remember, she was convicted of the unthinkable act of killing her own children, seemingly as a means to hold on to a romantic relationship. Susan Smith's actions have left an indelible mark on the fabric of American society. Her case remains a touchstone for discussions on maternal filicide and the extreme manifestations of psychological distress. It is a chilling reminder of the depths to which human despair can lead, bringing out the darkest side of our nature. Yet, in a letter to the state newspaper in 2015, Susan claimed that she never intended to kill her children. "I am not the monster society thinks I am," she wrote, insisting that it was not a premeditated event and that she was not in her right mind that fateful night. These claims, along with her consistent infractions in prison, do raise questions about her potential release. Could a woman who has shown repeated instances of disregarding rules and regulations be trusted to follow societal norms once released? Furthermore, the idea of parole is founded on the belief in the ability of individuals to reform. But has Susan Smith truly shown signs of remorse and transformation? Or do her actions speak otherwise? To answer these questions and gain a more profound understanding, it's essential to look beyond the sensational headlines and delve deeper into the complex personality of Susan Smith. In our final part, we'll analyze her case from various perspectives, trying to comprehend the incomprehensible and hoping to extract lessons for the future. This chilling narrative about Susan Smith's life and actions leaves us with a feeling of profound sadness and a multitude of unanswered questions. Her act, taking the lives of her own children, is so far beyond the realms of comprehension for most of us that it becomes difficult to fathom. As we grapple with the enormity of her crime, we're left with haunting images. 2 innocent children in the last moments of their lives, A mother trying to escape the unimaginable horror of her own creation, and a society struggling to come to terms with such an abhorrent act. We heard the harrowing description from diver Steve Morrow, who discovered the boys' bodies in the submerged car. His account painted a picture of an unimaginable end for the two young victims. Such testimonies have cemented the image of Smith as a monster in the public consciousness. But in her own words, Susan claimed she was misunderstood and that she intended to kill herself, not her sons. "I was not myself," she confessed, and her defense team argued that her act was a result of despair and sadness rather than pure evil. No one can really claim to know what went through Susan Smith's mind on that fateful October night. It is a secret she carries with her as she serves out her life sentence, her future filled with uncertainty. As we conclude our examination of Susan Smith's life, crimes, and repercussions, we realize how complex the human psyche can be. This tale is a stark reminder that beneath the surface of everyday life, there can lurk unthinkable darkness. Thank you for joining us on this intense journey. We must remember the victims and continue the dialogue about these crucial societal issues, which is the first step towards creating a safer world for all.